Hello, I thought I would just take a moment real quick before starting into the video. That I just want to say thank you for all the support that everyone has shown on my last video about the Eldritch Knight. I really do appreciate that. That is my highest performing video that I have on the channel, except for one short that I have. But nevertheless, I am so thankful for everyone who has subscribed, who's liked the video, who's watched it. 145 views as the making of this video, and I accumulated about 19 subscribers. I have a total of 19 subscribers right now as of recording. I just want to say thank you so much. I didn't think anyone would really watch these videos or really care to watch them, let alone like subscribe and comment and like the videos. I really do appreciate it. So thank you so much for everyone who's done that. Now, I'm trying to keep this super short, and I don't think you guys want to hear me just, say thank you this entire video. So we'll get right into the video right now. But lastly, thank you again so much. I appreciate it. Welcome back to At the Table. Today, I thought I would do a history video about the Hexblade Warlock. Now, Hexblade Warlocks are one of my favorite subclasses in the entire game of 5th edition. And little known fact about me as well, I really love Spellblade type of characters or Gish characters. I really do think they're really fun and just so many options you can do with them. But I was wondering, what is the history specifically about the Hexblade Warlock? Now, just like the Eldritch Knight I did last time, this class has a very unique history to it. And it's not as dramatic as the Eldritch Knight, but it still has a very interesting history, and it starts at 3rd edition. So let's do a brief overview about what a Hexblade Warlock is in the first place. So what is a Hexblade? So as most people know it today, it's a warlock that has got their power through a patron that manifests as a weapon, allowing you to cast magic spells and also dealing and doing martial techniques and prowess. But in 3rd edition, it was far different and drastically different than we know it today. As we know it today, it's more of a Gish type of character, like the Eldritch Knight or the Bladesinger. But back then, it was more of a backline kind of caster and didn't really use spells like Eldritch Blast or Arms of Adar. It used more of curses and banes, almost like a debuffer, and would use that to its fullest potential and kind of slow the enemy down. What we know it today didn't really get started until 4th edition, when they redesigned it as more of a martial-focused warlock. Then 5th edition, that's when it really became what we know it as the Hexblade Warlock today. Alright, so let's start with Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition, specifically 3.5. Now, the Hexblade first appeared in a book called The Complete Warrior in 2004. It was its own core class. It was not a warlock subclass, but rather a martial combatant with innate arcane magic. These warriors combine martial prowess and curses to debuff and slow down the enemy. That's what I find interesting about this class. It was its own initial class, by the way. It was not a subclass of warlock, and I kind of like this concept of a cursed warrior using curses and banes to really slow down the enemy and letting the other party members pick them off, or they deal the damage. Functionally similar to a paladin, like maybe like a Oathbreaker paladin, or some kind of like darker version of a Bladesinger. So now we're on to Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition. When Wizards of the Coast revamped the game for 4E and Heroes of the Forgotten Kingdom book back in 2010, the Hexblade transitioned into a subclass of the Warlock instead of being an independent class. These Warlocks, whose patrons grant them physical abilities, granting them to conjure magic weapons, and in later versions of 4E, the Hexblade can serve any traditional Warlock patron, such as Fey, Infernal, or Aberrational, but also keeping their melee focus, which I find awesome. I really wish 5th edition would do this, where they allow you to kind of open up the patron list a little bit for Hexblade. It allows you to kind of choose a patron of any kind. Maybe they do in the 5.5 version of it, but 5th edition where it was only from the Shadowfell, but I really do like that. And now you get to kind of see where we see the Hexblade Warlock today. This is like the building blocks, and then 5th edition builds on top of that, which I find really cool. So now moving on to Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition / 5.5. This is where the past 2 editions have now coalesced, and now the 5th edition version of the Hexblade has now come to its fullest potential. So in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the Hexblade was officially reintroduced in Xanathar's Guide to Everything in 2017. Rather being a warlock pact with a normal entity, 5e's Hexblade lore heavily revises to the center on making a pact with a mysterious, sentient magic weapon forged in the glooming realm of the Shadowfell. The original creators of these weapons often curse the items that hold pieces of their own soul. In the Forgotten Realms, the goddess known as the Raven Queen is frequently cited as the creator of these first magical blades. Because of the massive mechanical and thematical leap between editions, many players interpret the 5e's Hexblade lore with creative flexibility. For example, some players choose to roleplay their patron as a direct entity from the Shadowfell, while others treat the sentient weapon as a guiding force. Now, I do the same thing too in my games, going off a little bit of a topic here, off tangent. I do the same thing in my games. It just makes it easier for players to kind of understand, and it's more fun, and they get to have more fun that way than just kind of restricting them to just sticking to an entity from the Shadowfell. I kind of treat the same way, where it's just you have this flexibility where you choose where your patron comes from and who gave it to you and all that stuff. So that's how I do it in my games, at least for me. It just works better for me. And that was our brief look at the Hexblade Warlock. I know this video is a little bit shorter than my Eldritch Knight video, but there really wasn't that much to dig up about the Hexblade. I tried looking and I tried researching the best I can, but I couldn't really find that much. I just found more of its lore than actual game design history. So I tried my best, and I still hope that you guys liked the video. Now, again, in the beginning of the video, I just want to take the time now to say thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate that. That really does mean a lot to me, and I really appreciate just any amount of audience that I do have for sticking around and watching. I know uploads have been kind of sparse, but in between, I do have a full-time job outside of YouTube, and I'm trying to upload content to the channel as much as I can. So thank you guys so much for just being patient and liking the videos and commenting. And even though I only have 19 subscribers, I still really appreciate that. That's still mind-boggling to me that I have 19 subscribers and 145 views on that Eldritch Knight video. I still cannot believe that. It is insane to me. So thank you guys so much for watching that video and really helping the channel out. It means so much to me. And that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.